Welcome back to the Print on Demand cast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the silent killer of print on demand businesses. Let's get into it.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Well, hope everyone's doing great. I'm Travis. If you haven't ever listened to our show, well, why not? And I'm not joined by Josiah this week. We couldn't sync up our schedules. I've been super busy. He's been super busy. It just kind of happens that way sometimes. So don't know what to expect with this episode. It's probably going to be a little faster, a little shorter, I guess, rather, than other episodes, but still got some good stuff to get to as we talk about the silent killer of print-on-demand business success. That's so ominous, right? So what's been going on in the week? This last weekend was absolutely crazy. My band played on Friday at so in Leadville, Colorado, there's a race that they do. They do 100-mile bike race, and then they do 100-mile foot race. And so last week, and it's like at 10,000 feet, it's like peak to peak kind of thing, you know, lots of elevation climb and descent and all of that. And so last week we had played on a Thursday during the day while people were coming to get the registration for the bike race. And this week we went on Friday and we played a 4-hour set right in the middle of the day on Friday as people, again, were coming to get their registration packets for the 100-mile run. And oh my gosh, I just couldn't believe it. It just boggles my mind that someone wants to run 100 hours. And the winner did it. I think he set a record for that race at just over 15 hours for 100 miles. That's just nuts at like 10,000 feet. Like I said, you know? So anyway, that was Friday. We had to leave at like 8:15 in the morning, got back like at 9. So it was a long day. It paid pretty well. So that was cool. But, and then the next day we had another gig up at Black Hawk, Colorado. So we played that night. And then Sunday was my son, Tate, my oldest son, who used to be my production manager. If you're a longtime listener, you know Tate. He's been on the show. We've interviewed him. It was his birthday. So we went to downtown to a Rockies game, a Colorado Rockies baseball game. So that was a lot of fun. And then afterwards, I was so tired, I just kind of crashed. But then, and this kind of leads into a little bit of what we're going to talk about later. On Monday, I had somebody come over and help me figure out some things with my calendar. And I'll get back into that later because like I say, I think it really dovetails nicely with our topic. So before we get into that, though, I know that everybody loves this particular segment. It is time for the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
Okay, well, you guys know how much I like dad jokes. I mean, it's not a secret, right? Both Josiah and I, really. So the other day, I was at home just happily writing all these dad jokes on the wall in our living room with an erasable pencil. So, it wasn't like a Sharpie or anything. But my wife came in and she angrily, just went off, and she was like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, babe, read the room. And that is our weekly dad joke. I like that one. And it's so apropos because, yeah, I like dad jokes. We tell them every week here on the Print on Demand cast and in our VIP email. If you subscribe, you get an extra dad joke every single week. So don't forget to do that. You can go to printondemandcast.com/VIP. Little shameless self-promotion right there. But I really don't have a point of interest because I think that our topic is, it's not that it's going to take a long time, but I think it's good enough to kind of just kind of hold the show up, you know, and so we don't necessarily need one. And then also I didn't want to do one. So I guess I should have led with that. So for that, I guess it's just time for the main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event.
All right. So the main event of this episode, the silent killer of print-on-demand business success. So ominous. I should have spooky music in the background, but I don't. Well, way back in episode 177, I talked about something very important. At least I feel like it's very important. And I really believe that most print-on-demand companies or business owners or entrepreneurs, they get this wrong. And what happens is that this really kind of leads to either their business just kind of stagnating because they're just not growing. And what happens then is that they lose interest, of course, over time. You know, if you're not seeing success, it's really hard to stay motivated. And so they end up just kind of throwing in the towel a lot of times because they never really saw the results that they were hoping for. Maybe they sold a few things, but it just kind of didn't ever really materialize. And I think that one of the reasons that this happens is because of what we talked about on episode 177. So I'm going to revisit that, and I'm going to kind of go through some of this in this episode and then tie it to some things that I was doing Monday and some things that we're going to be doing in September. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the print-on-demand success pyramid. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this on your screen. It is a pyramid with different colors and things written on it. Obviously, the base of the pyramid is the widest because, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, the most important thing is at the bottom. And as you go up, they're less and less important. And as I said on episode 177, this is specifically talking about sales channels, because if we were doing a brand, like a print-on-demand brand, then obviously advertising and marketing would be in this pyramid, probably third, maybe fourth, but from the bottom. So that being said, since most of you probably aren't watching on YouTube, I should go ahead and explain what is the bottom section of the pyramid. And that bottom section is organization. And organization was the focus of our topic last week, episode 209, when I kind of went over a bunch of different spreadsheets that I use to organize my SKUs and all of that stuff. It really is the foundation of your business. And it's not just the spreadsheets. It's not just, making sure your SKUs are organized. That's not, it's not limited to that. Organization goes a lot further than that. And as a matter of fact, and this is where I'll kind of tell the story about what was going on Monday. So if you listen to last week's episode, I announced that I'm going to do a challenge for our listeners. And I think there was a pre-roll, advertisement that I recorded, so you guys have heard about that, and I'm going to talk about it more at the end. But what that did was kind of set some things in motion, because I knew I needed to record this, I needed to record that, I needed to make this link, I needed to make this page, I needed to do this, and all of these things, and simultaneously there's some other things going on behind the scenes with some other potential opportunities and things like that with and I won't really get into that, but the bottom line is I was starting to feel overwhelmed. And what I've noticed is that, and I even talked about this on episode 205, when I talk about my mindset, and I talked about self-sabotage, and I talk about imposter syndrome. And I kind of just laid it all bare about how I've wanted to do something in the print-on-demand space, teaching people, helping people, consulting people. And while I do some of that behind the scenes, it's been difficult for me to kind of get over that hump because I'm so consumed with, yes, imposter syndrome and all the things I talked about on 205. But there's also a part that's just like the tyranny of the urgent. And there's always something that, is always taking my attention. And it's really easy to get dragged in. I mean, if you looked at my second monitor over here, there are no fewer than 25 tabs open right now. Some of you are going, oh my gosh, you're insane. And then some of you are going, that's nothing, Travis. I have 50 tabs open or whatever. But my point is that things like that can distract you. And they definitely do me. So what I did on Monday was I had a friend that I've known for a really long time, and she has a gift of organization, and she has a gift specifically in asking good questions, and so I had her come over, and my goal and what we accomplished was kind of looking at my calendar, looking at my to-dos, and then grouping those to-dos into categories, if you will, and then organizing my calendar to where, yeah, you always got to check email, you always got to do these things. But then as it relates to print on demand cast, when, how much time do you need in a week to work on that, to record the episodes, to, prepare for the challenge, to do all of those other things, create content, all of those things. And let's set blocks of time for you to do that. And you'll have options in those blocks of time. So, if you really need to, get something out, you need to record a new advertisement or something like that, well, you can do that, or you can answer some emails, or, there's a lot of different things. Then of course, with Make Your Mark Design, there's production time that I have to set aside time for. And then there's just the minutia of the business. I meet with my virtual assistants every week. There's constantly fires, that need to be put out. So there's admin tasks, emails, and, responding to requests for new products, sales calls, things like that. And then of course there's strategic planning for, like, what products are we going to launch? We're going to be launching a bunch of ornaments for Christmas. And so we're talking about that, and we're doing things in that vein. So there's always these different projects. So that gets another category. And so my point is, I recognized the need, I recognized one of the reasons, aside from the reasons I talk about in 205, one of the reasons that I wasn't, doing this challenge, I wasn't, scaling, I wasn't like putting myself out there in a larger way, was because I just didn't feel like I had the time. And so what organization can do is it can show you that you do actually have the time. It can help you stay more efficient with your time. So I've built in some hard stops and things like that. And so it's actually a really good system. Now, I haven't implemented it yet. And the reason is because I've been really building up to this episode and this challenge. And so I basically said on Thursday, so that's, tomorrow, because I'm recording this on Wednesday, I will take time, and I'm going to go into my calendar, and I'm going to take it off of the paper that we kind of wrote it on, and I'm going to actually insert it. I'm going to, adjust different things, in there. And then I'm going to use to-do lists so I can assign tasks to those blocks of categorized time. That's a lot of explanation for what we did on Monday. But what I wanted to explain is just kind of the organization of all of these things is really foundational. It's the only way that I'll be able to accomplish all of the other things that I need to get done in business. So, but it also includes those spreadsheets that we were talking about, So, let's see some of my notes here. You can still, and here's the caveat here. You can still build a print on demand business without organization. And I think that's why I titled this The Silent Killer of Print on Demand Business Success. You can start it, you can get going, you can make some sales, you can do okay. But where will that take you? Where will the lack of organization take you? It's not going to take you where you want to go. It's not going to take you to where you can scale efficiently over time because you just don't have the organization to do it. So that's why it's on the bottom. And yes, SKUs, design IDs, like we talked about last week, all of those things kind of come into play. So I recommend you listen to episode 209, which was last week. If you haven't yet, I would watch it on YouTube because I basically screen share some example spreadsheets on that episode. So check that out if you're interested in that. So the next layer, or the next, I guess, layer of the pyramid that goes on top of organization, and it's really kind of just how they are. The importance of these to your print on demand business. And I feel like the second layer is design. Okay. And I just realized that I've been looking at my notes, and I've been this particular print on demand pyramid had been on there for the last, 10 minutes. And I've just been talking into the camera and oh goodness. That's why Josiah needs to be here. Whatever. Anyway, most of you again are probably not going to watch this on YouTube. You'll probably hear it. So it didn't really matter. But anyway, if you got a bad design, it ain't going to sell, So how do you make a good design? Well, use good fonts, understand negative space, design for specific colors. Don't just, have a design and then choose red and blue and brown and sand and white and black and, and pink and orange. Your design will look better on a limited number of shirts. Because some shirts or some designs just look better on brown. The most popular shirt color is black. And for a lot of reasons, I think it slims, it's a slimming color. So people know that and they buy it because of that. But also all of the colors really pop, but sometimes you could you could decide, I'm not going to do it on black. This shirt is going to be just in sand. This shirt is going to be just orange, or just blue, baby blue. You can choose to do that, but it's not like willy-nilly. You're not just doing it to do it. You're doing it because the design itself is kind of dictating that. And so those are some of the things that we're talking about when we talk about design and having a good design. For more information on good design, you can check out our interview with Drew from Kittle. And that's episode 153. Kittle is an incredible tool. And we do have an affiliate for that if you want to check it out. I think you get a free trial or something, but it's printondemandcast.com/Kittle, and that's KITTL. You can always go to printondemandcast.com/resources to see, basically all of the things that we recommend or that we use in our own business and that we have affiliate links for. I think most of the things on that page we do have affiliate links for. I think a couple of them we don't. But anyway, Kittle is a great resource. And I mean, you could just go there for free and just look at the designs that they have and see how they're using their fonts, see how they're using negative space, get inspired, and create something new. You don't have to have Kittle. You can go back to your Canva account or whatever and try to recreate something, from what you saw on Kittle or, any of these other platforms, but really, really good stuff. All right. So the next level of the print on demand success pyramid is on-page SEO. And there's so much to be said about on-page SEO. This is going to include your title. Your title usually carries, in most platforms, it carries the most weight for the algorithm. So Amazon has an algorithm, Walmart has an algorithm, Etsy has an algorithm. You also have your tags or your keywords, depending on which platform you're on. They call them different things, and they actually have different weights of different ways that you can put them in there that work better on different platforms. Descriptions, Obviously, that probably carries a little bit less weight than the title, and probably a little less weight than the keywords. But it's still in there. You know, if you have bullet points, Amazon has bullet points. Etsy doesn't have bullet points. That would be another place that you could put keywords that people are going to search. And, you know, the worst possible thing you can do is, you know, if you have a really cool piece of art that you've created and you've got a name for it, you know, maybe it's the bridge over the river, you know, and it's a pretty picture of a bridge and it's got flowers and it looks really good on a white shirt. It's kind of, or a black shirt or whatever. And it looks really nice. It looks great on a coffee mug, and you name it, the bridge over the river, you know, the bridge over the Arkansas River coffee mug. And that's your title. No one is going to search for the bridge over the Arkansas River. Like, you're wasting that valuable SEO real estate. You need to name that something that somebody is going to type into Google, to Etsy or to Amazon. It could be something like beautiful scenery coffee mug, or, you know, or that might be what somebody types, that you would be a logical display for that particular buyer. Because if they, you know, if someone's just looking for the Arkansas River or something like that, and they might see your mug, they're not going to click it. And if they do, they're not going to buy it because they're looking for maybe something else on the Arkansas River. And it has nothing to do with your design. And that's probably not the best design or best example, but I think you get the point. Don't name your products what you like. Name them what someone's going to type. Okay. On-page SEO is almost as important as the design. And the reason is because without on-page SEO, they're never going to see how great your design is, because they're never going to find you. So the only reason I rank design ahead of on-page SEO is because even if you have the greatest title and the greatest keywords and you're found, you know, for the perfect buyer, and your design sucks, you ain't going to get the sale. You might get the click. You might even have to pay for the click because you're paying for Etsy marketing or Amazon sponsored ads. But you're not going to get the sale because your design stinks. So that's why I rank design ahead of on-page SEO. But they're neck and neck, because even if you have the best design in the world, it's kind of a catch-22. If you don't have good on-page SEO, they're never going to see the best design in the entire world. So it is kind of a catch-22. But episode 130, I'm just, you know, spouting off episodes, but episode 130, the top two tips to make your listing stand out on Amazon, Etsy, or Shopify. And spoiler alert, it's SEO. And the next one on the pyramid, mock-ups. You can have a great design, but if your mock-ups are, you know, trash, you're not going to create that emotional connection with your art or with your piece of, with your apparel or with your, you know, product or whatever. And so they're going to be less likely to buy. So mock-ups are pretty important. Obviously, if you have a great mock-up and a crappy design, it doesn't matter. But once you've got them on your listing through on-page SEO, the thing that's going to sell them is not your great title or your keyword stuffed title. It's not your description and the story you told, you know, about your beautiful painting that you made of the bridge over the Arkansas River. It's not going to be any of that. It's going to be your mock-ups. They want to see what they're buying, you know? And so you have to have good mock-ups in order, once they have clicked onto your listing, in order to finalize the sale, it's going to be the mock-ups that make that sale for you. So there's so many great places to get mock-ups. You can, again, go to our resource page to find different places. We have an entire episode on mock-ups, episode 154, but there's Placeit, there's Creative Fabrica, there's creative market. Etsy has some really good mockups. They also have some really trash mockups. I guess probably all these places does. Kittl has the ability to do mockups. You can create them yourself in Canva or Photoshop. And you could use smart objects to give them more of a realistic look. I would highly recommend you do that so it doesn't look fake, because again, mockups are dang important. They're the fourth part of our print-on-demand success pyramid. So yeah, check out episode 154 if you want to learn more about mockups, or check out our research page for more info about that. The next most important thing is your print partner. And your print partner is important because you can sell for less by choosing a different print partner, so you can have better margins, or you could have better quality because this printer prints better than this one. That's why we always tell you to get samples. And some of them, you have more options of unique products. Everybody sells a coffee mug. Everybody sells a Bella Canvas 3001. If they're a print vendor worth their weight in salt, they got a Bella and they got a 11-ounce white mug and a 15-ounce white mug, and there's probably a bunch of others that, I'm not going to really go into right now, but they're kind of the usual suspects. And because they're the usual suspects, a lot of people are selling them online. So does your print vendor have some unique products that you could potentially sell? There was one product we were looking at it was a laser engraved product that they also had like colors, and you could layer it, and it created like an ornament that had 3 or 4 different layers of different, and you had to design it specifically, and they had specific templates and all of that. But I'm like, I don't think that's on Printify or Printful, or any of the kind of usual big guys. But and that's that company is Merchize, by the way. You could check them out. They're based in Vietnam. They only have some of their products over here in the US, but if you're selling on Shopify and you can have a little longer lead time, they might be a good place for you to get some ideas on some products that you could sell that not everybody else is selling. So your print partners are really important. Obviously, like I said, check the quality, check the pricing, check the shipping. A lot of times you'll see, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I can get this for $10. And then you realize, oh, they're making it up in the shipping. So it's really a wash between these two companies. So now I just have to check quality. So make sure you factor in your shipping costs into your final price to figure out what your margin is going to be. And yes, you can use more than one print provider. That's the cool thing. It doesn't matter which platform you're on. If you use spreadsheets you can basically have a column that tells you who that one's going to, or who that one is connected to. But yes, you can use multiple print vendors. So if you really, really like your current print vendor, but you want to go over to Merchize and figure out how to sell these 4-layer, 5-layer laser engraved ornaments or whatever, you can do that. So don't think you can't. Don't think you're like locked into one. But the next kind of level on the pyramid are tools and resources. And again, these are important. I've talked about a whole bunch of them. I've talked about, a lot of tools that you can use. And there's also like keyword tools, how to find all those keywords for that SEO stuff. And there's obviously design tools, and there's font tools, and then there's people, that can help you with marketing, and then there's tools to get like all this AI stuff. I'm actually using an AI tool to chop up I'm using an AI tool to chop up our podcasts automatically and kind of look at it and see which parts are the best parts. And then obviously they're not quite there where it's just like send it into the world. There's a little bit of editing you have to do, and maybe add a title. And then obviously you have to add all the captions and everything. But tons and tons of AI tools that can help you with designs, with your all of your descriptions and your titles and all of those different things. So they're important. but they're not mission critical. Like, you can still do this without those things. You can't do print on demand without a design. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so high up the pyramid. Like I mentioned, we have a whole resource page on these tools, and we've talked a whole lot about these tools. And, when you spend money in your business, you typically can take that off your taxes too. Episode 175, we talk about how to lower your tax burden, and thinking through those things. But obviously, if you're not making any money, you're just sinking it in there. This is not a mission critical thing. Save your bucks and really just make them work for you. Make good decisions. You don't have to have every single tool. So that is the print on demand success pyramid. And the silent killer of print on demand business success is flipping this pyramid upside down. And you're so focused on the tools and the resources, and you're trying to figure out which print partner to use, and you're trying to figure out what software how you're going to do your mock-ups and how they're going to look. And should I brand them? Should they all look the same? Should they all be different? You're trying to figure out all this stuff, and you're going about it the opposite direction than you actually should be. Figure out how you're going to do the thing. Get organized. Figure out how you're going to, like, what does the perfect listing look like? Let's create a template for that, and then let's build off of that. That's one way to be organized. How are you going to SKU all of these products? It's one thing to have 10 products. It's another thing to have 100 or 1,000 or more. And what does that look like? How do you take something from idea to design to a product to a listing? What does that process look like? Let's figure all of that out. That's part of the organization. Your organization is actually going to inform how you design and what those designs look like. Your organization is going to inform your on-page SEO, because you're going to figure out when you're going to do that and what tools you're going to use, which is the top tier. Your organization is going to influence how you do your mock-ups. What way? Do you use bulk mock-up and do 100 at a time or 1,000 at a time? Or do you use place it and you do one at a time, but it's all automated? Or do you really know Photoshop? And so you can create a tutorial for, potentially a VA to follow and put it here and do this, and here's the smart object and click it here. Or are you just doing everything in Canva and you built out templates to, that are kind of saved in your Canva account, and every single time you do it the same way? There's a lot of different ways, but it all comes back to how you're organized, your standard operating procedures, how you think about all of the rest of the stuff. And you might have already done all of this stuff. What I'm saying is take a minute, step back, and figure out, document that stuff that you're doing already, and then figure out, how could I improve these things? How could I make these flow together better? As opposed to just, oh, there's a fire, I got to go put it out. That's what I was doing. And that's not a good business strategy to grow your business. So this leads right into what I talked about, what I announced on the show last week and talked about earlier in this episode. And that is the POD Foundations Challenge, the Pod Foundations Challenge. I said I was going to come up with a name, and that's the name I came up with. So I have decided to put this out there into the world. This is the first time I'm announcing it, aside from the intro advert that you already heard, but the dates are going to be September 17th through 19th. So it's going to be a 3-day event. We're going to be on a call at 7 p.m. Eastern. So that's 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. I had some people ask to do it after hours because several people, have day jobs and they want to be able to attend. However, I will say, even if you can't attend, if you're going to be out of town or, you just can't make it, maybe you're in California and 4 o'clock, you're not off work yet, whatever. First of all, I'm sorry that we're doing it at 7. I didn't want to make it too late for East Coast, and I wanted to keep it around 5 o'clock for me too. So, cause I'm in Mountain. So there's a little bit of selfishness there, but my point was, if you can't make it to one or more or all, don't worry about it. I'm going to record every single one. You'll be able to go back. You'll be able to listen to it later and hear all of the information. And one of the benefits of coming to this is that you are going to receive the spreadsheets that I showed. I did my screen share from last week. There were 3 of them that I showed. I also talked about Wasabi. I'm actually going to jump into my Wasabi account and give you examples, show you how I've organized that and how it plays into the spreadsheets and how all of that, how the SKUs and how the designs become or the ideas for the designs become design IDs, and then those designs go on products and how we SKU those products and then what we do with all of the rest of the information and how we collect it all on this master listing spreadsheet. And so all of those spreadsheets can talk to each other. And while this may not be specifically the way you're going to run your business, because maybe you don't need a certain column or whatever, we're going to talk about how to kind of massage these for your specific business. So you'll get an opportunity. We're going to do some Q&A, but we're going to do some detailed walkthroughs of those spreadsheets. You'll get them. You'll get basically a Google link that you can then copy into your account. Then you can edit to your heart's content. So lots of screen shares, lots of Q&A, and then even some real-time assistance making this work for your business. So if you're interested, you want to do this. If you're like, I hate spreadsheets, but I see that I need organization, and it doesn't just stop at spreadsheets. There's gonna be a lot of other things that we talk about specifically about organization. But if you're interested in this, you want to do this, I want you to go to printondemandcast.com/foundations. Okay. It's the POD Foundations Challenge, because I really do believe it's the bottom of the pyramid, this whole idea of organization. So go to printondemandcast.com/foundations. It's actually a Calendly link. It only gives you the option to choose one day and time. Again, even if you can't make it, go ahead and sign up. It'll ask you a few questions. And then once you've entered in all your information, you'll be on the email list that will then get updated information about the challenge. That's where I'll send the actual spreadsheets or the links to those. And then you'll also receive the links to the Wednesday and the Thursday. So that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern, the Pod Foundations Challenge, printondemandcast.com/foundations. All right. That's all I got, guys. I mean, Josiah's in here and I still talk for 40 minutes. Go figure. Hopefully I'll get some of you guys talking in that Print on Demand Foundations Challenge. It was really cool because I got a lot of people that are already like on my interest list. Okay. And I'm going to email them all and say, hey, go to this thing in case they didn't hear this or whatever. But I had a lot of people reach out through email, some DMs on Instagram, some DMs on Facebook. Yeah. This really kind of hit a chord. I struck a chord. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to get with you guys and talk about all this stuff. But I don't really have anything else. I just wanted to share a little bit about the challenge and then share about the print on demand success pyramid, and why I think without that bottom foundation, it's kind of the silent killer of print on demand businesses. So let's see here. With that said, I feel like I want to tell you what's coming here in a second, but I'm not going to. You'll just have to keep listening. So, yeah, so that's going to be it. We're at just over 40 minutes. Really appreciate you guys listening. Sign up for the VIP email list, printondemandcast.com/VIP. I know I'm not supposed to have so many calls to action. I talked about like 70 different podcasts in this episode and told you to go to this link and this place and that place. But so I'm just going to end it. Appreciate y'all. And for Josiah, I'm Travis. And until next time, we'll see ya.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a minute. Before you go hitting that pause button and jumping into the next podcast, let me tell you about the free Pod Foundations Challenge happening September 17th to 19th. We're flipping the script on how you organize your print-on-demand business, giving you the same organizational spreadsheets I use to keep track of all my designs, my SKUs, and everything else I need to create a listing on any channel. Can't make it to the first session? No worries. Go ahead and sign up and catch the recordings later. Go to printondemandcast.com/foundations today and get in on this game-changing event. All right, now let's cue that outro music.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.